Yo, week 5 is upon us. Gully, I'm Bully. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. How about you?
Not too bad. Our Vikes are 4-0 on the
Gotta
top
love
of
it.
a lot of people's power rankings, which I like. But last time that we were on top of power rankings a couple of years ago, it seemed too good to be true, and it was. So I try not to hold my breath.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yeah, I always like it when we're the underdog. It works out better for us.
Stay in the
Once we start
shadows.
setting expectations on our teams, it seems like, that's when the dagger comes out and just right in.
Yeah.
But so
Another overall shellacking to the Packers. A
that
28
was
nothing start, but then our defense decided to just let them come back into the game, and it got very, very nerve-wracking for anyone that knows Minnesota sports. That is what we do.
isn't that the truth?
And one onside kick away from being that game to, a letdown. But they came away with a W, and now they go to London.
Yep.
Face the Jets. Biggest surprise, week 4. Since week 4, new players, new coaches. What's kind of the new person on topic?
Good question. Not sure I was ready for that one. You threw me a curveball.
I'm gonna say the Baltimore Ravens look hell of a lot better in the last 2 weeks than the first 2 weeks. I think they're starting to come around. They are starting to become a full team, getting some of that rust off.
Agreed.
I was a little surprised that they put a beat down on Buffalo, but maybe Buffalo's looking at it as only one game. Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as that goes, I think their offensive line is really coming together. And that's really catapulting Henry. I actually kind of thought he was washed up, but boy, he definitely did not look like it in that game.
He looks built, fast, tall, strong. He's a beast, man.
Yeah,
I could definitely use Lamar's beastly arm. Zay Flowers did not fare well last week, and probably people that have other receivers. Just he is not a passer, man.
I don't know about that. I still find it interesting though that he's still rushing for 70 yards a game, even with Henry and his production the last couple weeks.
Well, remember when they had Mark Ingram and they almost did like an option, like a pro version option, or a sweep, and it seemed to work out so well for the Ravens and Lamar's play style that I think that's similar to what they're still doing. Overloading on Derrick Henry, not knowing if Lamar's going to pass, and then he's going to one-on-one beat somebody out to the edge. So,
yeah. I
Yeah,
think one of the biggest changes as far as Lamar's passing goes is throwing to the tight end. Generally, Mark Andrews is dominant. And then, like I said before the season, that Isaiah likely could be a pretty strong candidate as the season goes on. And they're both, I think they're basically using them more to block than they are to run routes.
Yeah, we'll have to come back towards the end of the season and see if our breakout or bust, how way off we were, if there's any middle of the road guys. But right now, some of my busts are panning out. Some of my breakouts were, but now they're coming down to earth a little bit. So we'll see if see what's playing out. Be very interesting to see what's happening.
Yeah, like Bo Nix.
Like Greg Dulcich.
Yes.
Yeah, he's coming down to earth too. So soon he'll be landing in the end zone. Heyo.
Yeah.
However, week 5, we need some stardom situms, and we're gonna change it a little bit. We probably gave you guys way too many options last week, so we're gonna cut it down in half. So
rapid fire.
QB stardom. Who do you got?
All right, my start of the week is Jordan Love.
Ooh.
He's going against the Rams. They're 29th overall versus quarterback play, according to fantasy uh, numbers. Giving up on an average of 233 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Um, I think Jordan Love's going to have a pretty good day.
Sounds like it on paper. From a Viking standpoint, I hope to go with the opposite.
Nice.
I went Geno Smith versus the Giants. I think the Giants have a very average pass defense, but Seattle is going to rebound. He has got a great connection with DK this year, and I can see a good,
Yep.
275, couple touchdowns. He's averaging just about 20 points a game. I don't see why that would bust out here again. So if you have options to play Geno, I suggest throwing him in.
I got him starting.
Some people have. I just picked him up and I got to start him this week. But yeah, some people are one of those teams where they'll go back and forth with quarterbacks instead of having a surefire starter. So maybe that's one of your guys.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I got him starting. I looked at. So I have Jalen Hurts in quite a few leagues. I knew his bye was coming up, and so Gino was kind of the guy that I wanted to target in a lot of leagues, and he was out there in a few of them. So if he's out there for you, and I think he'll be a good choice for you guys.
You can tell Gully doesn't listen to Bully's remarks because Jalen Hurts was on the bustum list. And he said, hell no, I'm drafting this guy in every league.
Not quite, but almost. Yeah.
Running back position.
Running back. My start of the week is Ramondre Stevenson from New England.
Okay. All right.
Yep. He's playing against Miami. Their 29th run defense overall for fantasy, averaging 113 yards on the ground, 4.39 yards per carry, and giving up 1 3/4 touchdowns per game.
So this is not going to be good for our fan base because my stardom was Antonio Gibson for the New England Patriots. There have been talks that they're changing starters for running backs and going to Gibson for this upcoming week. And he might see a lot more carries than Ramondre.
I don't know if he's going to get more. The problem is Ramondre has fumbled every game this season. So I know that Gibson has been taking the third down plays, and then he is probably going to get a little bit more play time due to the fumbling issues. But I still think there's going to be plenty on the ground for him, for both.
Well, if they have any sort of lead, then they might be able to both get some stuff. But yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot either way. But I guess we'll see which one pans out.
Yep. So just take my advice.
Yeah, that guy. Wide receiver.
All right. My wide receiver for the week is T. Higgins versus that vaunted Baltimore defense. For fantasy, they are giving up 12 receptions. I wrote some 23 fantasy points per game to wide receivers. They're 24th overall. I think at the end of the day, you can start T. Higgins and he's going to be money for you. And obviously, you're always going to start
Jamar.
Yes. Jeez. Sorry, old man brain fart.
It's okay. I think he needs to wear a hat, otherwise it's going to slip his mind.
Exactly.
This might not be a surprise, but I went Xavier Worthy for Kansas City due to Rashee Rice being injured. Yep. But Worthy's been very inconsistent as a rookie, so I think you might see a lot more targets here. This also, I'm going to kind of handcuff this if you don't have Worthy on your team. Juju Smith-Schuster is probably available in like 90% of leagues right now.
Yep.
try to pick him up. He might be a very good play here too, just because the Saints have the 23rd opposing rank to wide receivers. So I think either one would still be a good play. We'll see some targets.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Yep.
Until
And I think
they trade for somebody.
and with Worthy, I mean, they've started to increase his role a little bit. Um, well, the first week he got the rushing touchdown and then the one passing touchdown, and I think they've slowly been getting him a little bit more targets. I just don't know that they've been really coming into catches and yards, so he just
Right.
needs to start producing a little bit more.
Yep. Yep. And the blocking tight end position.
Yeah. Well, the tight end this year in fantasy football has been pretty horrid.
It really has
Um,
been.
but I think my stardom of the week is it's a grudge match for him. Tyler Conklin versus the Vikes.
Okay.
Vikes are 29th in fantasy versus tight ends, giving up 5.5 receptions, 50 yards, essentially 8 fantasy points per game for tight ends. So
I like it. I had kind of thought about, whether they're going to use him against Minnesota and we give up, tight end points, or if he's still going to be like the third or fourth option. But I can definitely see him being used. So, and like you said, the tight end position is so wide open right now. Why not explore a little bit?
right, absolutely.
So, and I'm going to go not explore, and I'm going to double down on my guy from last week, Mike Gesicki. He's gonna redeem himself from one catch
Hopefully
for
he's not
negative 9 yards.
Mike Gesicki.
Baltimore is 31st to tight ends, so I think, and this is I wouldn't say a must-win game for Cincinnati, but they still got to come with some victories. So I can see them putting up some points and having a shootout here. So I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, because I'm starting him again and seeing what happens.
Yeah, sometimes you got to roll the dice, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to know when to hold them.
Yeah.
And
then
then
you
know
got to
when
know
to
when
cut
to bench Greg Dulcich.
Right?
The gold mine has not come about yet, but I'm telling you, give it time. By the time he retires, he will score a touchdown. Okay.
Right.
Next week, career-ending injury. All right. Sidham's quarterback.
All right. You want to start this one, or want me to go again?
I'll give it a shot.
All right.
I wouldn't say it's a safe sit, but I don't really like Derek Carr against Kansas City. Kansas City's defense seems to be fairly solid. I feel like New Orleans' offense is slowing down just a little bit now that they're playing some actual teams versus the, some schmucks they played in the first couple of weeks. So I don't see this a great game for Derek Carr. So if you have another option, I would say pass.
Gotcha. So this one was a tough one for me. I'm going with Sam Darnold against the Jets. They're second best second best defense versus quarterbacks. Giving up only 150 yards and 0.5 touchdowns. Yeah, that was a mouthful. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, they might have a mouthful of Sam Darnold, Bingo. They might be.
This is a family show.
They might be. He might be under a lot of pressure this week, man. So that's not a bad sit there. Running back position. I am sitting any Dallas running back. If you're going Rico or Zeke, or even if you really want to try Dalvin Cook, go ahead. But Pittsburgh's fourth rank against the run. I feel like they will need to make some passes, and Brandon Cooks is not playing, so I could even expect some new guys coming in to catch some passes. But I don't like the running back situation at Pittsburgh. they've been pretty stellar on the D. So
Yeah, they have been. They've been very strong. Um, so with that being said, my guy to sit this week is probably not going to go over that well with some people because he's starting to get pretty popular. But Brian Robinson Jr. For Washington,
okay,
they're playing the Browns. They're basically seventh versus the run, only giving up like 89.5 yards a game, and 0.75 touchdowns a game. So that's not a whole lot of there's not a whole lot of points there to go around. So
yeah.
I would say if you got a better option, I would say sit Brian
And
Robinson.
they have a new, I don't know if he's a rookie. So Austin Eckler got hurt. There's another guy that just came in, stole some carries from Robinson. I cannot think of his name at the moment, but he's taking away some carries.
I think Eckler's going to be back this week too because it was basically a concussion. So it sounded like he was on track. So that could also play in. They could start to have a three-headed monster, right?
Yep.
That's what you don't want. That you never want that in fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah, as your regular team, that's
when
great.
You already have the two,
Yeah. Wide receiver, this might contradict your quarterback play, but I'm saying sit Romeo Doubs. He just doesn't feel like he's they have Wicks, they have Jaden Reed, they used Kraft quite a bit, and they have Josh Jacobs, so he's like the fifth option there on the offense. Maybe worse by now. I don't really like that playing out. You might get a garbage touchdown, but I still don't really think that should be what you're counting on. So I would stay away from Romeo Doubs if you got some other options.
Yeah, that's probably not a bad suggestion. I mean, I personally like Dontavian Wicks myself over Dobbs.
Mm-hmm.
Dobbs is more of like a home run guy. It's either he's going to score you a touchdown or he's going to get you nothing.
Yep.
So yeah. So I like your call. So my sit of the week is Stephon Diggs versus his former team, the Bills. They're basically number one overall versus wide receivers. Only giving up 86 yards per game. 9.5 fantasy points to wide receivers per game. So yeah, if you got a better option, I would definitely sit Stephon Diggs, or even I would even take the flyer in this circumstance, mainly because they have two other good weapons there in Houston. To maybe you take a flyer. You pick up somebody like Dontavian Wicks. I know he's out there in a lot of leagues. I picked him up in a couple leagues myself. So,
well, is this going to be a revenge game for Stephon Diggs? That you might want to see more targets thrown his way for this game, or is this just more so just about the Houston offense itself?
I think it's more of a revenge game for the Bills against Stephon Diggs.
Okay.
That's what I think.
So they're going to double team him and say, "We're glad we traded you."
Yeah. I think they already said that, but
okay. Tight end position. My bust of the year, Mark Andrews. Hasn't done a damn thing all season. Plays at Cincinnati. He's averaging 3 fantasy points a game.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta see it before I can start him. And I mean, I don't have him in any leagues, but if I did, I need to see production, some consistency before you can even think about putting him into the list.
Well, the only caveat I'd say to that is all tight ends are pretty much playing like horseshit. Pardon my French. But my sit of the week is Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely.
Oh, okay, so he went with the team as well.
Cincinnati, even though they are known for having a bad defense, right? They actually are second overall versus tight ends, only giving up 3 receptions a game, only like under 30 yards per game, and only 2 fantasy points. They've given up no touchdowns to tight ends.
It's just because
So
the wide receivers go for $180, you know.
yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think that Baltimore tight ends is going to be a good play.
Agreed. Yeah, I would agree with you.
Now, week 6 will be coming up. We'll get some stuff out for week 6 and try to keep this as much of a normal routine as we can. And that is all we have, or I have, for Fantasy Week 5, unless you got something for me.
I really don't. I kind of, if I have a gripe right now with anybody, it would be probably Andy Reid and Kansas City Chiefs, not giving us any clear definition if Rashee Rice is going to be out for the season or not. But other than that, I think everything's going pretty darn well.
Well, on the other side, we know he ain't playing, so
this is true. Not this week for sure, but
I don't think there's too much to worry about. Now, I'm on the other side, holding on to Christian McCaffrey when I don't know if I need to still. So I'm still waiting for some sort of confirmation if they're just going to pull the plug, or if they're hoping.
That's a tough one, man. He's I just read the other day that it sounds like he actually has Achilles tendonitis in both legs.
Right. But yet he is hopeful to play in a couple of weeks. So, it makes no sense on what's going on over there.
Yeah.
I think if Jordan Mason continues to run well, I think their smart option would be to shut down McCaffrey. But,
well, I don't think they'll shut him down for the year, but I think they'll give him all the time he needs to get healthy, right? I mean, as long as you're still winning, what's the point of really rushing him back to potentially not have him for your playoff run?
Well, I mean, like I said, though, if Jordan Mason's doing, shouldn't say just as well, but,
sure.
If he's putting up 90 and a touch, then, what else are you looking for,
Right.
So.
Exactly.
But, all right, friend. Well, I guess till next week.
Sounds good, man.
And guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, tell your friends, hate your neighbor, whatever it is.
And make sure you comment below whether or not we're cracked or if you think we're great. I'd like to hear from you just to see what the public says about
are we idiots
podcast here.
Are we idiots and we need to be canceled, or do we need to cancel our viewers? Let's find out.
Yeah. Exactly.
In case anyone was interested in the guillotine results, Gully and Bully's team did survive, and surprisingly, we put up, I think, 2 of the top 3 points this week. So
we did
an easy, safe mark, and now nervous again for the next week, as we always are.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
It's a dogfight.
It is.
And I got $10 remaining, so if I go out, my money goes with.
Yeah, I still have like $500, but still, I'm pretty down there. Out of your $1,000 fab. But hey, it's part of the game.
Part of the game.
Got to figure it out.
All right. Well, that's it.
All right. Well, take care, everybody.
Adios.
Peace out.